Today, you're going to be learning how to get more leads with CompanyCam. You're going to learn how to close more deals, get a better sales experience. We're going to talk about solution awareness, project management, risk management, and marketing. This is all the stuff that CompanyCam can help with. And it's super funny because these slides are totally not the way that we run webinars today. So I actually feel like I'm in like strange territory, even though this is literally the oldest webinar we have, is the simple CompanyCam guide for roofers. And you're going to all get a guide at the end that you can use so you can operationalize this in your company with instructions and all this kind of stuff. But first thing I want to talk about is how you can use CompanyCam to get more leads, right? Now, it's probably wondering, you're using a CompanyCam tool to take pictures of houses. How could you use this to get more leads? So I would love to have your guys' engagement and your help with this, making sure that I'm on the right track. So I want you guys to put a 1 in the chat if you're using this feature, put a 2 if you're not. There's no shame. I just want to know if you guys are using this. CompanyCam showcases. And don't make me go on your website and prove you a liar. But if you're using it, put a 1. If you're not using it, put a 2. CompanyCam showcases is super powerful. All right, this is a feature that came out so long ago. I remember the day that Luke, the owner of CompanyCam, called me up and said, hey, I got an idea. What do you think if we released a feature that allowed people to have geotagged photos for on-site SEO based on the pictures, right, that they have on their website? He called me and asked me this question. And so what you do is you install this once, right? So inside CompanyCam, you can install this pixel on your website, and then you can continuously publish all of these pictures of your jobs, right, to your website. And so the vast majority of roofers think that they need to pay some SEO expert to write 60 more blog posts about the 10 tips for roofing or the 5 things you didn't know about roofing, when they could be getting the same benefits just by posting every single job to their website in 30 seconds using this CompanyCam Showcase features. And there's easy instructions on how to do this. The first thing you have to do is install a Showcase widget, and it's very easy. Okay, there's a video in the guide. You can also just go to YouTube and Google, like just literally type CompanyCam Showcase widget, and it's right there, right? But from there, it's pretty simple. You just go through these steps, right? You select a project and click Showcase this project, right? And then you choose a cover photo to be displayed on your website. Now, there's a way to do this strategically, right? So that it looks good, right? But you will put you choose a cover photo to be displayed on the website, and then you list the project type and the products used, and the title and the details, because what it does is it'll actually write the title for you in a way that makes sense. So if you say that you use JF HDZ and it was a roof replacement in the neighborhood of Wedgwood, right, then it's going to rewrite the title for you. So that way it's kind of like it's appropriate for your market. Then you're going to select the photos to hide, because that you don't want them displayed. So the picture of the guy is not wearing fall arrest or something like that, you can choose those photos to hide, right? And then when you hit click install showcase widget, that will find your code. So you have to start one showcase in order to get your code. And then you're going to get this code and you're going to paste it on your website. If you're using HubSpot CMS, we actually made a, because HubSpot has a thing that's like WordPress called HubSpot CMS. And you actually made an RBP module that you can get for free. And all you have to do is paste your CompanyCam ID in there, and then it'll show up on your website, and you can move it around and place it whatever you want. And then from there on, you just keep putting in these CompanyCam Showcase widgets. So you want to just keep posting it. But it can also help you get more deals. And this is something that I want to make so critical to what I see when I'm out there. This is something that every time I go somewhere and I don't see their roofing company getting as many sales, I want to tell them that like sales is not so much about making people buy as much as it is about helping people make a decision. So if you can adopt a consultative approach, right, and give your customers the red glove, or sorry, the red carpet and the white glove treatment with a proper photo annotations, because most roofers send hundreds of customer photos with 0 annotations at all. And it's necessary to maybe have 40 photos so the customers know what they're looking at. So properly annotated photos walk the customer through the roof diagnosis so the customer is problem aware and primed for the sale in the form of your solution to their specific problem. Clear communication empowers the customer to make this decision. And ultimately, it's like selling like a doctor. All right. And I use this analogy a lot. So you want to equip your salespeople to sell like doctors. And we can use CompanyCam not only to document, but to diagnose what happened and what's wrong with the roof so the customer can understand. This means that when a salesperson is like flipping through the photos with the customer, they have the tools they need in the form of these annotations to clearly communicate what's wrong in a way that the customer now feels confident that the salesperson is competent, and now the homeowner feels more empowered to make this decision. So much of the success that we've seen our customers have in sales comes down to making it so the customer feels confident in their understanding of the problem, so they feel that they're a competent person, aware of the issue. And then, of course, if you can make them solution aware with a configured price quote like Sumo Quote, with line item pricing, with engaging visuals, now they're empowered to make that decision. And just by doing that, closing rates go up, all because of what you do in CompanyCam. And so what I mean by annotated photos, for those you might not know or don't use CompanyCam, it's like you want to be able to tell a story about the roof. You want to be able to draw these arrows and these circles. Because what I see is you take a picture of this and you assume that someone actually knows what that is and what the consequences are of that thing. And so going back to our doctor's analogy, if you went to a doctor and he said to you, he put you in the x-ray machine, took you out, put the pictures up on that light wall that we see in the movies and said, okay, so you got a torn ACL. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do some surgery. We're going to cut that. We're going to fix it. And then we're going to patch you back up. You'll be back on your feet in 3 months. You want to buy that? Right? Or want to get that done? You're probably going to say, I need a second opinion. Then if you go to a second doctor and they say, okay, so the process is that what I'm going to do and what you can expect is that you're going to go in, I'm going to put an x-ray on your knee. We're going to see what's going on in there to see what's causing you pain. Then I'm going to show you exactly what's going on with your knee, and then we'll discuss possible solutions. Sound good? Okay, go in the x-ray machine. They do their process. They take the x-rays. He puts the thing up on the wall. He says, okay, see this right here? That's your ACL. That's what makes your knee go like this. And so it doesn't go like this. So that's your ACL. If there's any doctors in the room and I'm wrong, like, forgive me. I'm just trying to make an analogy here, right? Now, see this picture of your other knee? That's your ACL in this knee. And that one is just fine. See how it's attached like this? And you got an arrow and draws on it with a little Sharpie or something. So what we need to do is we need to take 2 little incisions. We're going to cut in there. We're going to put that back together, right? We're going to reattach it. Then you need to not move it too much for a while so it has a chance to heal. And then you're going to be rehabbing it and you'll be back on your feet in about 3 months. Sound good? Who do you feel more confident in choosing? Doctor 1 or Doctor 2? Doctor 2 could easily be the better doctor. He could be the more competent doctor, but he's rushing and he's not taking time to make you feel confident and therefore competent to make a decision. So if we can use annotations to create a choreographed sales presentation, how we do it is using the CompanyCam checklists. Because the other problem that I see is roofing companies saying to their employees, I want 80 pictures of the roof. What is the difference between 80 and 40 and 120? Why is it 80? Why isn't it 120? There should be specific pictures of specific things. And so for free, we have put these CompanyCam checklists into CompanyCam for you so you don't have to worry about it. Then this has a number of benefits. One, when you create this choreographed picture-taking experience where it's like front of home, go meet homeowner, driveway, delivery access, ideal dumpster location, what might debris hit while debris is being thrown towards the dump trailer. And you go front, and you go all the way around the house, and then you go up on the roof, you take a picture of the gutter with the little color swatch, you take the picture, right? Same thing with the drip edge. Then you get on the roof, then you take pictures of any problems, then you take the whole pictures of around the roof. Like you have a very choreographed picture taking routine. One, the estimators go faster because they're going to do the same thing every time. This is why airplane pilots still use a checklist, even though they literally just went from Seattle to, I don't know, Seattle to Idaho, right? I'm trying to think of where somewhere in Idaho, right? And he goes from Seattle to Idaho. It's a 2-hour flight, 90-minute flight, something like that. They just did this checklist an hour and a half ago. Why do they need to go through it again? Because that's the process. They follow the process. Nobody dies. You want your pilot to do the checklist, right? Well, When they do this, they're going to go faster, right? They're not going to miss anything. And in sales, it's very easy for 1 second shortcuts, right? Of not taking a picture of the plumbing boot and actually having a measuring tape showing how big it is, right? That's 1 second to pull out your tape measure, take a picture with the tape measure up against the plumbing boot. But when it's wrong and you send a 4-inch plumbing rubber to a job with a 3-inch stack, that turns into a 5-minute phone call, right, to production, which turns into a 15-minute or 20-minute drive for some runner to go get it, which turns into now you have 2 plumbing rubbers. One of them you're going to throw in the garbage or hopefully throw in a truck and keep later, right? And then there's a routine to go back and figure out what happened and why they did it. All of this costs time and money, right? Just these one little things. 3 seconds can become 5 minutes, 20 minutes in no time at all. And that's just a plumbing rubber, right? That's not even talking about real stuff. The other benefit to this is that when production and installers go and look through the photos, they know that when they scroll down quickly, they know halfway down what's going to be there because it's the same thing every time. It makes everybody more efficient. What am I always talking about? Revenue per capita, revenue per employee. That means you have to make things efficient. So going back to this, we want to create that choreographed sales presentation so that when they're flipping through the pictures, they know what's going to be there. And if they know what's going to be there, what's going to happen is they can then talk and pay attention to the body language of the person they're talking to because they know what photos next. They know how many photos are there. And the homeowner can visualize how he walked and they can kind of interpret what's next and they can kind of follow along with the process. There's a whole lot of little psychological stuff that happens here that makes you more efficient. Now, put a 1 in the chat if you're putting annotations in every single project every time, or if you're a sales team. If you're not, put a 2, and there's no shame. I just want people to know that you're not the only one, because that's half the problem is people think, oh, everybody's probably doing this. Most of you aren't. I know. I drove to your offices for years, right? And I know that this is what happens. And this is why this is such a powerful guide. It's why it took me a year to make it. And it's why I made it my very first webinar, is because this has so much impact from an app that costs 20 bucks per user. So the people with the 2s in the room, that's okay. There's a way to reduce the friction on this. And so what I mean by friction, the tool does not matter as much as the process. And the process does not matter as much as adoption. So great, you got CompanyCam, great tool. But if you don't have a process for using it, people will use it all kinds of ways. So you have to have a process for using it. Now, if you have a written out process or an SOP document and a video training on it, that's great. But if your people don't do it, then you're not going to get the outcome. One way to increase the chances you get the outcome is simply by making everybody turn on edit mode. Because what they do normally is they climb the roof, they get to the peak, and they stand in a circle, and they go, and they take a bunch of pictures from the peak. Because the boss told them get them 80 pictures. So he's going to take 20 in a 360 view or some crap like that. Well, the problem is it doesn't slow them down enough. You have to create healthy friction. There's good friction and bad friction. The checklist that air pilots are forced to do, that is good friction. Less people die if airplane pilots are forced to go through this checklist rather than do it from memory. So if you're going to tell your company, you have to put annotations on the photos because Adam Sand told me so and I believe it, or whatever you walk away with, you want to make it so that you force friction into their way. And so what you do is whenever a new user is added to CompanyCam, you turn on edit mode, right? Which is right here. So when you go into your settings, it's edit mode, and that's going to force them to put this on. And so you're going to find it just like this. Go to settings, edit mode, just turn that on. And that's going to force the guys every time they stop to take a picture, it stops and brings up the annotation part. So then you can draw your arrow, make your circle, add some words, and you can just go to the next photo if you want. But I'm telling you, more annotations equals more sales. I would rather annotate too much than annotate too little. Spending 6 minutes more annotating photos on the roof, the 3 seconds it takes per photo on 40 photos, right? Call it 3 seconds each, 5 seconds each. That's 200 seconds. That's under 4 minutes, right? The extra 6 minutes it takes to annotate those photos, that healthy friction, I guarantee you, lines up your customers for sales. I have a sumo quote build that we called the 2x build, and it was where I guaranteed I would double your closing rate, right? So you pay 24 grand for a sumo quote, we guarantee double the closing rate. One of the things that guarantee hinged upon was that every project had annotations every time, or else you didn't qualify for the guarantee. And guess what? People doubled and tripled sales, and I never had to pay the guarantee. I did all kinds of sales training and objection overhandling and learning how to look through the CRM and making sure we were noting objections. But one of the biggest things that people said helped was the annotations. They paid 24 grand to have me tell you what you should institute as a policy. If you had to pay 24 grand and you didn't have a chance to get the guarantee back from the guru guy on the internet that said he would guarantee your closing rate would double, you would make sure your employees did it every time. Treat it the same without the $24,000 price tag. I guarantee you get the same outcome. Then it's ultimately going to give you a better sales experience. So you want to let your customer join in on the customer experience, because now that we've identified a process that will be consistent, we can promise it to our customers, right? So you can share the timeline link to your customers. Most people know about this at this point. What we like to do is in the CRM, use Zapier to create the CompanyCam account every time a deal is created and a new building is there. Then we copy the timeline link back to the CRM in a custom field. Then we can use that as a personalization token in any emails that go out to the customer. And we have templated emails like a what to expect email that goes to every customer. And what we tell them to expect is that they're going to get a bunch of pictures feeding in on this link so they can watch it come together. And so ultimately, this project timeline link brings your customer on the roof with you, right? So RBP can help you make this, right? You just choose share, you automate these project timelines, and then you follow the process and the pictures will go in, right? So we've talked a bit about this. I want to make sure you guys know where to find this. If you want this, so there's two things here, the timeline and the showcase. I moved this slide into the wrong spot. I apologize. If you are on HubSpot CMS, you can go here. It's free. You install it, and it makes it easy to put the module on your website. It's right up there in your template marketplace. So the last thing that I want to talk about is how you can use the video mode, right? Because CompanyCam now has a feature that allows you to record both your face and the front facing camera of your face and what's behind you, what you're looking at. So you can do a walkthrough video on the roof. One of Monarch Roofing's most successful videos doesn't use this feature, but essentially he's holding up his phone like this. So he's holding up his phone and he's talking to the camera, and then he treats this like he's holding the back of their head. And this is what I used to do in my roofing company, is I would record personalized walkthrough videos. We had to pay $500 a month for a tool like BombBomb, which was meant for realtors to do walkthroughs of homes. Then Loom came out, and you could do it with Loom or Hippo Video or Vidyard, right? And then those tools came out, and then CompanyCam built it in, so it just exists there. You don't have to pay the $500 a month like I did. But I would hold my camera like this, like it was the back of their head, and then I would point at the thing that I wanted them to look at, and I'd be like, look at that. And then I would talk to them some more, and then I would look at that, and I'd talk some more, and then look at that, right? And so that was the process. But now they built it in so you don't have to do that. You don't have to do the awkward thing where it's like, like you're trying to figure out how to flip the camera around, and in your video, you got like this whole like under the chin, double chin look. You don't have to do that. It's just right there taking your face. And so if you don't have a marketing budget, no problem. You've probably heard me yelling at people on Facebook to do your videos. There's a guy named Cole, I think his name is, from Cadillac Roofing or Escalade Roofing. He's posting marketing videos every day from just doing walk around videos in CompanyCam. And it makes a really cool different video because it just kind of looks like this. You've got a picture here, and then you've got that in the corner, and it makes a really nice marketing video that you can use just explaining what you're seeing on the roofs. Because if a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video is worth 1,000,000. And so if you're sharing the timeline link and they get this video that they can watch while you're up on the roof, they remain engaged into the process. Like they're engaged in the sales process. Now, I want to jump forward a bit and talk about how you can create more solution awareness, right? So for those of you who know that we build sumo quotes, right? So we build custom sumo quotes for people. And yes, there's a lot of great stuff that come with the hero pages and all that kind of stuff. And it's a great product. I'm not here to sell you guys anything, but these things are good. but actually I'm just going to skip that entirely. I don't want this to be salesy, but you can use your company cam photos in Sumo Quote. That's all I really want to say. Now we'll get into project management. How can you use company cam for better project management? So I want to tell you one of my favorite customer stories about a customer that had a rose bush. So my customer had a customer that had a rose bush that belonged to her grandmother that she gave her. And this rose bush she got from Elvis, right? And so this rose bush was so important to this lady because she said, if you kill this rose bush, it's going to be like you're killing my grandmother all over again. So you can't mess up this rose bush. And what they ended up doing was, because when she said that, they ended up drawing and putting notes, annotations on the photos saying that they were to build a box around this thing, right? And build a box around this rose bush. And they put that on CompanyCam while they were with her at her house. What does this mean? Well, what I found that made things really easy to close deals was when I talked about CompanyCam like it is a project management tool. So what I would tell customers, I say, yeah, this is the same tool that our crews are going to use when they come here. So most roofing companies, when they sell a roof, what they do is they turn the quote that I'm going to show you, they turn into a work order, which is the same standard lines. And then they're going to create a material order, which is just the products that you bought. But no one's going to talk about that or that. And so when I was doing my ground walk after my roof walk, I would take pictures of, like, I noticed a dog in the backyard, I would take a picture of those dog toys, right? And then I would say, dog in back, make sure fence is closed. Sure, maybe this is standard operating procedure, make sure the fences are closed. I mean, I wasn't for us until we spent 3 hours chasing a dog because a 10-year-old kid walked in through the back door while we were roofing and the gate was open and the dog rushed past the little girl's friend who was coming in through the back patio door. The dog ran out, didn't like all the noise, ran out the front yard, didn't like the sound of the compressor, and took off. And then we had to shut down the job site and help this poor lady chase her dog down for 3 hours. So yeah, every time I saw pictures of dog toys in the backyard, I took a picture of the dog toys and I said, dog in backyard, close fence. I would draw little squares, like on the side of a house, they got that all those little rocks, because the grass always dies. So then they just get a load of rocks and put it in there. What happens on those rocks? Little nails get lost in there all the time. What do you know your roofing crew is going to do? They're probably going to put tarps down. But does your homeowner know that? So then I would draw a little square and I would say tarp, right? And the reason I did that was because what I wanted was to be able to go to my customer and say, yep, I'm going to make sure the guys put a tarp here because these little rocks tend to hide the nails, right? And then if those nails fall there, it's going to be an issue. And then they usually don't show up for months later. When I got to the air conditioner, I would take a picture of the air conditioner and I'd draw a little square on it. And then I would put an arrow and I'd say board and tarp. And I even saved this as quick text in my phone. And now you can use the HubSpot keyboard to use like snippets in your keyboard. While you're in CompanyCam, you can use your HubSpot keyboard to put longer descriptions in. So you can put like stuff about woven valleys, like you can put more words on the screen really quickly with just like a couple clicks. But using the quick text features, I could quickly put, fairly decent little, like I could put a paragraph in, but it would just be a couple letters and it would spit the full text in. But I would talk about board and tarp, right? Remind homeowner to not turn on air conditioning during the day, right? Because then I would explain to the homeowner, because the nails fall down, they can get in here. They'll hit that fan and go bang like this, and they're going to mess up air conditioner and get dust all over it. The granules get in the fins, reduces the air efficiency. So we're going to put a board and tarp on it. But you want to make sure that you don't turn on the air conditioning throughout the day because it's going to suck that tarp in. It's going to blow the breaker. Customer's like, oh, I never would have thought of that. And if you've ever been anything where I've talked about sales training, your goal is to get your customer during your presentation, before you solicit the business, to say, I never would have thought of that. Because if you get them to say that, what they're doing is they're abdicating their power to you. They're saying, you're the one with the power in this conversation. You're my guide to making sure that I have a good experience, that I get my roof done right. And when they abdicate their power to you, you own the conversation. I shared with my team just yesterday, a guy talking about how you sell a $40 million jet. And he was recording his call of him selling a $40 million private jet. And we talked about cashmere blankets. He's like, oh, I never would have thought of that. If you're on a private jet, you probably want some blankets. Yeah, cashmere blankets. That'd be good. Never would have thought of that. He had them. And then the sale happened. $40 million jets, $40,000 roofs, $35 cell phone plans. It's all the same. So if you can explain to your customer that these pictures are to guide the production guys, because they're going to see that what I promised you, and then they're going to make sure that what I promised you is what happens, right? And usually it's around protecting their property, their flower beds, put tarp over handrails, move barbecue, the stuff that you're doing anyway. You just want your customers to know you're going to do it. Because remember what I also say about sales. How do you create a customer surplus? The value has to be in excess of the price. And this is perceived value. The customer has to perceive the value. Netflix won because $9 unlimited movies with no late fees had a very easy to communicate perceived value that was higher than $3.49 for one movie with $13 in late fees because you brought it back on Monday instead of Friday night, right? Customers easily understood that. And even though the cost of Netflix, adding you to Netflix, costs way less, it costs them pennies per month to add you as a user, their profits are way more than a movie store ever was. But it wasn't about that. It's about the perceived value is in excess of the price they have to pay. So if you show them that CompanyCam increases the perceived value of doing business with you, when the next guy doesn't have CompanyCam, doesn't have or doesn't show that he has it, doesn't send him the timeline link, doesn't annotate the photos, and doesn't show how he's using this as a production management tool, you win the deal every time. So that's why you want to make this a seamless handoff to production, because guess what? Those photos do help production because it slows them down. They read the annotations, they get an idea for what it is that you sold. Because remember, confidence equals competence. So if you increase the level of confidence that they have in making a decision to go with you, they will, because that's all they're looking for. You're not trying to close them. There's no magic words that makes the wallet pop out of their pocket, right? Like there's objection handling, and then there's just removing obstacles to the sale, right? The difference between objection handling and removing obstacles to the sale is the difference between seduction and rape. Okay, it's the difference between dancing and wrestling. I would rather seduce and dance with my customer than the alternative. All right. How do we seduce them? We have to take the little extra 5 and 10 minute things, because it's not about silver bullets. It's about 100 golden BBs, right? That kind of translate into a sale. Okay. But guess what? There's more, right? There's more the CompanyCam can do for you. All right. So risk management, huge in what you're doing, right? Risk management is something that it's like a penny, a dollar saved is a dollar earned, right? Because if you sell another dollar, well, 60% of that dollar is going straight to your cost of goods sold. If you sell another dollar, it usually came with a 5% marketing expense. If you sell another dollar, you usually had to pay 10% to a sales guy to get you that dollar, right? There's operating cost to that dollar. But if you save a dollar, it goes straight to your bottom line. So you want to protect your profit margin from changes and surprises, right? Because if you do your pre-install site inspection, where you make sure you document any damage, so you teach your site supervisors, or Lord help you if you can get your crews to do it, right? You want to take pictures of the damage beforehand, because you want to do what? CYA, right? You have gone nowhere near this fence, but you're being blamed for this, right? And so thanks to CompanyCam and these checklists, you can basically have a pre-job site checklist where they document any site damages. And this protects you from having to pay for stuff that you didn't do. This happened all the time. Like I remember one lady, right? How often do people look up at their roof? Never, right? But the minute we're done, what is she doing? Looking up at the roof. I had a phone call where I had to drive all the way out to this lady's house in a town called Beaumont. Okay. Beaumont's like minutes from the city, right? It's like the outer edge of our service area. Drive all the way to Beaumont because she said we dented up her gutters, and she knows we dented up, and she's pretty sure she saw the ladder there. I drive to this little doll house, okay, skinny little tall house. It's got about 8 feet between the two houses. It's 2 stories up plus a bit. Like it's a bi-level home. It's like 2.5 stories in the air. You couldn't even lean up a 30-foot ladder in this area. Like the ladder would fall backwards. And there's a dent on her gutter. So I climb up on the roof and I go and take a picture. The gutter has rust on it where the paint was knocked off. This is years old, right? But we didn't document it. She was adamant that we did it. And now she's upset. She's probably told her neighbors, oh yeah, I got the roof done, but like, They damaged my gutters, right? Do you think she went back and issued a correction? No. All the neighbors know is that you came, did the roof, damaged the gutters, right? Meanwhile, we had nothing to do with it. And this kind of stuff happened all the time. You go to the house, they got those like six-sided glass lantern things hanging on either side of the garage, right? The glass in there is made of sugar. It's like for the movies, so it breaks over people's heads when they do stuff. Like you touch this stuff and it breaks. Thing's been damaged for years. The thing's full of dust, right? And the thing was cracked beforehand. And she calls and says, "You broke my light." And I go and look in the pictures and I'm like, "No, it was cracked," right? But sometimes we have to try and find a picture where they maybe took it, and you have to try and zoom in a lot to try and see if it's there. And it's like through the glass, it's like it's on the other side, and you're not sure, or like the broken window in a well, right? All this stuff we would get blamed for. Every time you're paying $300, $500, $120, sure, you can make your subs pay for it, but then sooner or later they're going to say, "Man, we didn't do that." And they're saying, "Well, the customer thinks you did. You didn't take the pre-job site photo, so it's on you." They're just going to eat it, and then they're going to hate you, and they might not work for you. So the other benefit is project monitoring. You keep your jobs on track. If you've been in any of my production octopus courses, you know about how important it is for the production manager, the brain of the octopus, to be playing Tetris all day, right? The whole point is that they're supposed to try and have a plan. You got 6 crew days worth of work shoved into 6 blocks, and the field manager and the site supervisor work together to make sure they zap that bottom row. Come hell or high water, they have to get the work done. Well, you want to make sure that if that's not going to happen, excuse me, if that's not going to happen, we want to know about it as soon as possible. And a lot of people don't learn how to actually use this view to keep monitoring your jobs as they come in. The production managers don't keep this window open all day. You always look at it like this. I suggest you can also look at it as a feed, where it's like a Facebook news feed, and you're seeing the pictures come in as they go throughout the day. So when problems arise, you can address them faster. So when these pictures come in of some rotten plywood, you can use your change order process to show the customers, "This is what we found. We couldn't have seen this beforehand. This is an unseen site condition." Have a template in your sumo quote that says, "This is what is a change order and what's next." And then you explain it, so you have completely effortless transparency. You can document it to the customer. So even if you don't get approval beforehand, because she's working and she works at a bank and isn't allowed to have her phone on her or something like that, you can at least make sure that you have the proof of why you did what you did, because the communication creates confidence, right? And this is what drives future business. So this is so much more than just a photo taking tool. So I want to kind of continue talking about this, because yes, there's more. Marketing, right? You can turn your everyday project management into marketing. Put a 1 in the chat if you've ever used the before after feature of CompanyCam. Put a 2 in the chat if you've never used the before after feature. Room's pretty split. Getting some more 2s, definitely more 2s. All right. So everybody is always trying to scramble. How do we get social media content? How do we get more social media content, right? Well, you can turn your everyday project management into marketing, because they have a before after feature. And so what that means is that you can go and there's a little overlay feature inside CompanyCam. You can find the instructions on YouTube and in their help documents, but essentially it puts like a semi-transparent version of the old picture on the screen, and then you just line it up to the new picture, and you can show the difference about what happened. And then it has these really nice, beautiful frames that you can then put on your social media. And guess what? If you put it on your social media, then your customers will like it and share it, because you tell them you're going to post them. When they see them in the CompanyCam timeline, they might save them and share them themselves. And so then now your customer gets to showcase your beautiful work on their social media feed, and so do you. And then customers constantly see how much more beautiful you're making things, right? What does the fitness industry do? Here's Mary. She was fat. Now look at Mary. She's hot, right? What's more valuable to her, right? She wants her high school weight, right? And now you're showing other people that you got them their high school weight. So what are you going to do? You say, "Hey, look at Mary's house. It was ugly. Now look, Mary's house is beautiful." It's the same thing. People love transformations. They love to see what people did, and people love to share their transformations. So let them. Like, you know what I mean? Just get out of their way. So then you can use these photos and videos and you can share, rinse, repeat. So we're pretty much at the end of things the CompanyCam can do, believe it or not. Is everybody here pretty excited about what CompanyCam can do? Did I surprise you, shock you, and possibly enlighten you as to what CompanyCam can do for you? I love how you guys are so conditioned with the ones. I love it. Yes, ones. Yes. Okay, perfect. This is awesome. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys. I remind you of the timeline. Okay, so I remind you of the timeline so you guys can know what is the process, right? What features to use and when. So the first thing, you're going to get customers to come to you because you have a showcase, right? At which point, when you create a new CompanyCam, you're going to have a timeline link that you share with them. Then you're going to teach, train, lead, and manage and hold people accountable to take photos in edit mode and do a video walkthrough on every roof. And they're going to annotate those photos as they go. Then you're going to get a job because they're going to buy because you did all this. So then you're going to document your pre-existing site damage. And then you're going to document the installation as you go, as well as take pictures of any unforeseen issues and use that to help your change order get paid. Then you're going to take before after photos. Then you're going to post that to your showcase on your website and you're going to rinse it and repeat it over and over and over again. This is now your CompanyCam process. This is your SOP of how you do it. Actually, the guide is, because the guide gives you all the instructions. But this is your process now, that you do this every time. You treat it like you paid $24,000 for a guarantee to double your close rate. If you do this, you're valid to get the guarantee. It's not like that's about the roofing industry, and probably every industry, right? Like they do fitness challenges all the time. It's like if you don't, they say, look, I guarantee to get you to your high school weight in 1 year. All you have to do is do what I say. What's the problem? They don't do what they say, right? And then they don't get to their weight loss goals. So anybody who wants to get the CompanyCam guide, you guys can get it. We will email it to you. It's no problem. You can put your note up in the chat. If you're looking for another cool piece of content, you can learn about the 34 roof upgrades you need to start selling now to get profits. Again, there's no sales pitch. It's just a free video. You guys can watch this video. It's literally been made because we would build sumo quotes for people, and we would say, well, what upgrades do you want to sell? And they would say gutters, gutter guards, extended warranty, right? And it's like there's so much more creativity that you can have around upgrades that will cause you to make more money and make more profit. And so Allison was complaining about this to me one day while we were in a hotel in St. Cloud, Minnesota. And I said, look, just open up the cam. And I started recording a video, and I literally started riffing on all the different roof upgrades that we've put people sumo quotes. So this is a super valuable video you can go watch, right? So thank you very much. I appreciate you guys being here.